Knuckle News fans. Susan Singari here after the BKFC 17 card in Birmingham, Alabama. And I've got the CEO and president of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship standing right next to me here. How are you tonight, Dave?
I'm doing great, Susan, and you have the president and founder of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. I was the CEO. We're going to appoint a new CEO this week. We brought someone in that's going to really help scale this thing and take this thing to the moon for us. So I can't wait to announce that. It's the perfect fit for this company.
How would you categorize these fights tonight? There were so many firsts. This card was just amazing to me.
Well, you know what? It's funny because someone's going to find something to complain about, right? They always do. But how can you complain about 10 good knockouts, 9 good knockouts? Mike Richmond performed well, and I'm going to call you out. Marcel Stamps, you quit, and I don't like it. That's not what we're here for. But every other fighter tonight fought their asses off and ended up, someone ended up on the good end and someone ended up on the bad end of a knockout.
So much heart, and that what really is what drew me to Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. The spirit of the warrior lives within. So much heart by so many of the fighters. Let's talk a little bit about that, because some people just would not go down.
No, I mean, some guys are fighting for something different, like I just did over there. I was talking about Azatullah Kakar. He fought Chris Sarro. He escaped from a refugee camp in Pakistan to Australia and then made his way to America. Somehow he got money and he got here, and I don't know how he got here. He was fighting for something different. He's not fighting for a paycheck, or he's not fighting because it feels good to win. He was fighting for a better life. And that's why he got hit with a great shot, spun around in a circle, and ended up knocking out Chris Sarro. And that's the kind of guys that are making this thing really special.
Fight of the night, let's talk about that. I think there were more than one this time, right?
I'm going to have to go with, they were all knockouts. So usually we don't do a knockout for the fight of the night, but Bobo Bannon and Zach Kalmas, absolutely. The best round I've ever seen was the round 1 of their fight.
He showed such heart. I was so impressed with the fact, as I was saying before, that's a guy that just would not give up.
No, I definitely wouldn't quit. I mean, again, man, they wanted to fight for a reason. And when you have something to fight for, Bobo knows that had he got knocked out or had something happen to him in this fight, he probably didn't come back. So he was fighting for something. He fought great, and Zach Kalmas wanted a place here, and he earned a place here. He now has a home here.
All right, Dave, so I really try to keep up with all the amazing signings that you guys are having for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. You've got some people coming over in the women's division, very exciting, some people from Russia. But you got to tell our fans, you got to break it all down for us, because I can't keep up with you.
I mean, there's just so many, Susan. We're really trying to add to the roster. Starting in September, we're going to be doing 2 BKFC shows and 1 Total Line show every single month. So we need to add the right men and women to this, to our roster, and we're doing that. And we're finding some big stars are going to make their way over here. Some great fighters are going to make their way over here. So, it's just going to be an exciting fall and winter for 2021 for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
Is there anybody in particular that we should be keeping an eye out? Because I know there's a lot of very interesting talent in the women's division. They're all good. So I got to ask you.
Just the women. I mean, just the women fighters. We're going to have 2 women's fight on every card from here on out. We're signing women left and right because the women make this thing. It's unbelievable. I mean, the men, of course, do. But the women, because they don't expect a pretty woman to come in there and fight bare knuckles and fight their asses off, and they do every time. So, we're going to focus on the women.
Can you give us any hint as to who PBZ might be facing next?
My most recent signing, probably.
So moving forward, we've got some terrific fights coming up. Let's talk about the upcoming card for BKFC 18.
4 World Championship fights, June 19th, it looks like, in Miami. It's going to be tremendous. Joey Beltran's defending against Sam Shoemaker. Luis Palomino's fighting Tyler Goodjohn. Thiago Alves is fighting Yuli Monster, Yuli Diaz, and Hector Lombard, my guy. He's fighting Joe Riggs. I mean, just 4 tremendous World Championship fights, and then 7, 8, and maybe 9 fights on the undercard. It's going to be a stacked card in Miami. It's going to be unbelievable. I really can't wait for that card.
And so many new states. Can you give us a brief rundown of how many other people want to jump on board and be a part of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship?
I mean, when we do shows like this and the excitement just, it goes everywhere. the states are starting to get excited about it because our injuries aren't really there. Although we're having a lot of knockouts, we don't have a lot of concussions, we don't have a lot of head trauma, we don't have a lot of facial fractures or hand breaks or anything like that. We just have some cuts, and the cuts are fun at times, right? I mean, you see the blood, great fights, and you see some of the cuts, and I think that's why these states are starting to open up. The regulatory bodies and the people that are in charge of this thing really like what we're doing, and they can't wait for us to get to their state.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because we do have some hard stats on that now. We should talk about that because you were talking about that earlier, and I think people need to know who the person is behind it that did the survey because he's a pretty big name.
Yeah, we have the president of the Association of Ringside Physicians, Don Musi, is on our staff. Great guy, just loves what we're doing and loves combat sports. Like I say, he's the president. He's like the #1 fight doctor in the whole entire United States, and he compiled the report. And the report, you can't argue with data. You can argue with opinion, but you can't argue with data. And the data shows that we have less injuries than boxing or MMA.
I'm curious, do you ever really sit back, Dave, and say, I know what you're going to say to answer this question, but do you ever really sit back and take the time to say, I changed the fight game. I created history here. Because you've worked so many years for this.
Well, a new friend that I met today told me a great saying. He said, well, sometimes when you're inside the jar, you can't read the label. So, it's hard for us to read the label sometimes, but, we're going to try to enjoy it sometimes. But, as you're building something at the fast pace as things growing, it's hard to sit back. I mean, if you sit back, you miss something, and then, you don't have the kind of growth that you're looking for.
And speaking of hard work, it takes a team to put this together. You've got some great people on your team. But I want fans to understand that when fighters have to be replaced, whether it's for an injury or most of the time it's for an injury, how do you guys get that whole thing together? Because I know you don't sleep, but you need to tell them you don't sleep.
It's just scrambling, but I mean, the thing is we assembled a great team. We have Nate Shook, myself, and some other guys. We're also bringing on Dean Toole, who's going to be part of the matchmaking team. So we have a lot of great guys. The thing that people don't know about my team is my team loves this. Like, they're not just doing it for the money or the fame or the fortune or anything like that. They're doing it. They love it. They love the growth of this. It's like building something. It's climbing. They love the climb to the top. They all love it. Like I said to someone today, almost every member on my team would probably step in front of a bullet for me. We have a tight-knit team that really love each other and really want this thing to blow, and it's blowing up. It's doing great.
And speaking of a tight-knit family, I also feel like it's important to talk about the family atmosphere you create here amongst the fighters, because so many of them have said that the pension plan is amazing, and you really have put your heart and soul into taking care of the fighters, and I really applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just being a former fighter myself, knowing what these guys are going through. They deserve to be taken care of, and we want to take care of them, so we're taking care of them. And if we take care of them, they're going to go tell 10 other fighters to come fight for our organization. So if you do the right thing, good things happen, and good things are happening for BKFC.
All right, before we go tonight, Dave, tell us where we can watch all those fights.
BKFC.com or BKTVapp.com. Go to the Bare Knuckle TV app. It's $3.99 a month, and you get, for the price of one pay-per-view event, you get a whole year of between 12 and 18 pay-per-view events. Download that app, subscribe to that app, and you will not be disappointed.
All right, Bare Knuckle News fans, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this interview with me and David Feldman. I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Susan Singori for Bare Knuckle News. And remember, no one beats us to the punch.